Carlos, good to talk with you. Wish it was for better reasons.
Okay, yeah, it keeps us busy.
You've dealt with these kinds of cases before. Jabin may have made an honest mistake. He made a wrong turn. He's now sitting in a Mexican prison. You know how they do things in Mexico. What's it going to take to convince them that's the case?
The reality of the situation is that he did make an honest mistake, and the big issue here on the border was how the hell did it happen? And why the hell was he stopping in El Paso if he was going from Johnson City, Tennessee to Phoenix? And the simple answer, he had 3 stops to make here in El Paso, and he just got diverted into Juarez, and there is a turning lane, but he passed it and he couldn't maneuver it, and the guy, one of the agents just told him, just go forward, but forward was Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like it's preposterous in the sense that if you had to draw up the worst possible way of delivering drugs into Mexico, it would be the following fact. Let's get a black guy, put him in a big truck with 9 pallets, open, not concealed, during the day, and he doesn't speak Spanish, and he doesn't have a passport. Those are the facts of the case. And to think that you could send someone with those characteristics to Mexico to pass the drugs in broad daylight. So it just the whole thing doesn't make sense. It was a legal purchase between 2 cities, between 2 lawful entities in the United States. And so we've got the bill of sales, and that's the case. Now, given the problem with the case beyond him looking at 5 to 30 years, it's highly politicized.
Mm-hmm, right, because I know when I talked to Howie Glazer, the owner of the ammunition company, he said to me, I'm real concerned that they're holding him as a political prisoner.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There's two factors that really are problematic. Is that in Mexico, when they catch you, it's not enough to charge you with the crime. It's generally used for other purposes, a bribe, corruption, politics. And in this case, when they stopped him, they immediately made 2 public accusations. One is that he had hidden compartments, which he didn't. The cargo was 25,000 pounds, 9 pallets, openly displayed, not concealed at all. And 2, that all of the bullets, all of the ammo was 223, which you well know goes towards the
AK-47, the AR-15s.
Exactly, which is the weapon of choice. So 5% of the load was 223. 250,000 rounds was 308. And so clearly that's not the type of ammo or arms used in Mexico. But in order to make the catch that much more important, they highlighted that. Why did they do that politically? Well, because the carrier's contract agreement just said ammo on it. And so they figured that because there wasn't any specific designation, they could characterize it anyway. So less than 5% of the total was for that, and that is a crime in and of itself, but they need to make a bigger crime out of a crime and politicize it. And so it's as political as it is legal, and the 2 are intertwined. The fact that they politicized it and misrepresented it from the future speaks to still one of the continuing problems with judicial reform in Mexico, which is that at that level, at the street level of the investigative with the cops, federal cops or otherwise, there's still that taint of corruption and inefficiency and lack of training. And while the judges are getting better, they have to deal with this crap.
Yeah, well, and especially, Mexico trying to point the finger at the U.S., too, that everything comes from the U.S., and that's why they got the violence they have. But, have you had a chance to talk to Jabin yourself? How is he doing, considering what we know the conditions are in these prisons?
I spoke to him with his mother and his wife were in my office 2 days ago, and he happened to call, and we did speak to him from the prison in Veracruz. And he indicated of course he's depressed, and they're mistreating him, but just like everybody else. And, we asked him if he'd been, tortured or coerced in any way, and he said no. Now, this is taken off by itself in Dallas. Friends of Jabin Bogen, referred to as JB by his friends. There's free JB T-shirts in Dallas, in the community. So, we will ratchet this demand for his release pretty quickly, because we can't let up. But the good news is that we're dealing with the Mexican federal prosecutor's attaché in San Antonio. And unlike other cases we've had where they don't even respond, they have taken the steps, the affirmative steps of contacting us.
Mm-hmm. That's a good sign, and that's a rare move.
Yeah, it's a rare, but and a good sign. But one of our concerns in prison life is that you pair up with your groups. Now, there's only 20 Americans in a prison of 4,000 in Veracruz, and no African Americans. You're vulnerable. So there's that added risk. We're not saying that they stopped him or race has anything to do with the initial arrest, but it does have to do with issues related to his safety, and that's the elephant in the room. And then you have your pecking order in the prison along those lines. Ethnic, racial, gangs. It's a big prison for gangs. He's not a member of a gang. So there's concerns for, of course, his ultimate freedom, coupled with his safety.
So what's next for Jabin?
He already appealed. He already told them that he's appealing the decision, which is the indictment, and he's got 30 days to appeal, and that's where we're got a series of meetings today and tomorrow with Mexican attorneys to get them on board.
All righty. Well, we'll see what we can do to keep this thing out in front, and we'll stay in touch with you and talk to you soon and keep us posted.